Hello everyone, it's Eiji, and today I am so excited for this video because I will be talking about one of my favorite mangaka, namely Junji Itou. I've been a fan of his work for a couple of years now, a good couple of years, and since then I have been collecting both his work in English, the pieces that have been translated to the English, and his original pieces in Japanese, because I am studying Japanese and I've recently sort of hit the level where I can sort of read manga without a furigana. So yeah, it's really exciting to finally be able to read his original work. So in today's video, I will be providing a guide to Junji Itou's work, and I will also give some more insight on how Viz is currently actually publishing his work. And then I will be showing you my collection, which has become quite extensive. So, yeah, it's all in this Albertine bag. So, yeah, that should be very exciting. Okay, so let's start by talking about the structure of Itou's body of work. Back in the 80s, Itou started writing for a shoujo horror magazine called Halloween, which was under the publishing company called Asahi Shimbun Publishing. At the time, shoujo horror was still very popular, but it was heading towards its steady decline, unfortunately. Nevertheless, it was in this magazine in which Itou published his first piece called Tomie back in 1987. Itou published his work exclusively in Halloween up until 1995, when the magazine got suspended. During that time, he mostly made short stories that went on to be collected in volumes, but he also made his first longer piece called Frankenstein, which of course is the adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. After having suspended Halloween, Asahi Shimbun then decided to rebrand a shoujo magazine that they had previously been publishing on a sporadic basis for a couple of years. They called it Nemuki, and it featured stories from a range of genres such as science fiction and fantasy, but they all had horror at their core. And this was the magazine in which Itou continued to serialize his work in. My guess would be that around this transition period from Halloween to Nemuki that Itou's career really started to take off, because it's in 1997, a year after the commencement of Nemuki, that Itou starts to branch out and starts writing for magazines that target men, the so-called seinen magazines. The most notable one was Shogakukan's Big Comic. And actually, many of Itou's most iconic work was created for Big Comic, such as Uzumaki, that is receiving an anime adaptation this year, but also Gyo, Hellstar Romina, and Black Paradox. Despite working for these seinen magazines, Itou still continued to publish in Nemuki until it got suspended in 2012. After this, Asahi Shimbun created a new bi-monthly shoujo magazine called Nemuki Plus, and to this day, Itou still publishes in that magazine. Also, quite recently, back in March, Itou actually finished a stint where he published work on the website Line, which I guess is sort of the Japanese version of Webtoon. So he did that in collaboration with Nemuki Plus and Line. So to quickly summarize this, Itou's work consists of a ton of short stories and a couple of longer works. Over the years, Asahi Shimbun has been publishing several editions of Itou's older works. So the first edition was called Halloween Shoujo Komikukan Itou Junji set, and these had like your typical Halloween cover art. This is, by the way, not one from Junji Itou, but it's kind of like the same gag. So yeah, the title here, and then the name of the mangaka. Yeah, or like the collection here. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, the name of the collection here. Yeah, the second edition was called Itou Junji Kyofu Hakubutsukan, and that I guess translates to Junji Itou's Museum of Terror. And I think that these are the ones that you might recognize from the first pieces of Itou's work that first got translated by a publisher that I think now has gone defunct, I'm pretty sure, or it was Dark Horse. Either way, yeah, those ones got translated, or at least the first 3 volumes, I believe, got translated to the English back in the early 2000s. After that, they published another edition called Ito Junji Kyofu Manga Collection, so the Ito Junji's horror collection. And finally, the latest edition that is still in print as of now is Ito Junji Keisaku Shu, which is, I believe, Junji Itou's masterpiece collection. And these are the ones that look like this, and they actually share the same cover art as the collections that are now being published by Viz, which brings me to the next section of this video, and that is talking about how Viz is actually publishing Itou's work now. So looking at the work that Viz has already put out and the work that they have confirmed to be publishing this year, I find that Viz is focusing on 3 separate things. The first thing is that they are translating Itou's older, longer work, and some of the pieces that are out already now are Gyo, of course, Uzumaki, Hellstar Romina, and these are all pieces that were published, like I said, in Shogakukan's big comic. The second thing is that they are translating the Masterpiece collection. So this collection in particular consists of 11 volumes, and Viz started off with translating the first 2 volumes, which covered all of the Tomie stories. So they got collected in this one, and since then they have actually been going quite rogue. You really don't know in which order they are going to be publishing it. After Tomie, they came out with Frankenstein, which is volume 10. After that was Smashed, which is 11. Love Sickness came out quite recently, which is volume 4. And this year, I think in December, they are publishing Deserter, which is, yes, this one. And this is number 5. The last thing that Viz is also doing is keeping up with the newest releases, so both the shorter and the longer works. So they started doing so back in 2015 with Fragments of Horror. After that they did Shiver, No Longer Human, which came out I think in January of 2020, then in August of 2020, I believe, Venus in the Blind Spot came out, and in August of this year, they're actually coming out with Itou's second to latest. I think is that how you say it? Yeah, anyway, second to latest piece called Sensa, or just Sensa. So now you might be wondering what's left of Itou's work to be translated. Thankfully, there is actually quite a lot. Of course, we have his most recent piece that got published a couple of weeks back, and these are the stories that he wrote for Line, and it's called Genkai Chitai, which translates to Phantom or Ghost Zone. So yeah, that's this one, and there are 2 other short story collections. This one is called Black Paradox, and there's another one called Mimi no Kaidan, which translates to Mimi's Ghost Stories. And then we still have what I believe to be Itou's last piece of untranslated long form work, and it's called Yukoku no Rasputin. So I guess that roughly translates to Rasputin the Patriot, and this is actually an autobiography. Oh no, that's not the Clemtone. autobiography. Yes, the autobiography of a Japanese diplomat who compares himself to Rasputin as he got caught up in a political, I guess, purge during the early 2000s. From my understanding, this isn't actually a horror, it's a collaborative piece with Masaru Sato, who I believe is the politician in question, and Takahashi Nagasaki, who you might know from his collaborations with Naoki Urasawa. So yeah, I'm not too sure whether or not Viz is actually considering to publish this piece as well, but nevertheless I think it would be very neat to have it in English as well. Anyway, besides Deserter coming out in December, there are still 5 other pieces of the Masterpiece collection that are still to be published in the English. So I thought I might as well just go through these 5 pieces. Yes, okay, let me just grab them. Volume 3, Soichi no Katena Noroi, so Soichi's Selfish Curse. Volume number 6, which is called Rojiura, which translates to alley. Volume number 7, Kubi no Nai Chokoku, which translates to sculptures without a neck, but I think it's more so headless sculptures. Volume number 8, which is Umeku Hai Suikan, which translates to the moaning drain pipe. And then finally we have number 9, which is Bohyo no Machi, which is Tombstone Town, or the town of tombstones. So yes, that is all the information that I have, and now it's time to look at my collection. Okay, I don't really know how I want to show you everything, but you know, I'm just going to wing it. I think I might start with the English pieces, so that's all out of the way, because I think that most of you might already know them, and I've shown most of these also in like a guide video I made back in October. So yeah, we have the Yon and Mu Cat Diaries about Itou's 2 cats. Then we have the one-shot Dissolving Classroom. I'm going through these ones quite quickly because I've already spoken about them previously. I'll leave a link to the video I'm referring to. Yes, I have Fragments of Horror. So essentially I have most of the pieces that are currently still in print in English. I have one of the more recent ones, Venus in the Blind Spot, and this one actually got published in the Japanese as the best of Junji Itou, so it's kind of like his selection of finest pieces. So yeah, then what else? There's also another like sort of best selection, which is Shiva. I initially thought that this was a part of like the Masterpiece collection, but apparently, like I think back in 2017 they published 2 tankobon volumes of this piece here, which is just a selection of well-loved Itou classics. Yeah. Then I have this one. This is actually one of my favorites, just because No Longer Human is also one of my favorite novels. Yeah, the No Longer Human manga adaptation. I think this one got released in like 4 volumes in the Japanese. But yeah, it's very depressing, but also very good. And yeah, what else? I have the art book of Junji Itou. I can show you a couple of pieces. So initially, I never really understood like why would you want to own an art book, but you know, I get it now. I get it. It's really cool to look at. I personally have used my art books for inspiration, for like thumbnails and just video ideas as well. For some reason I have one of JoJo and of Moto Hagyo and just like Japanese modern digital art as well. And yeah, they provide me also with a lot of inspiration for knitting for some reason. I have this really cool one with, I'm veering off topic, but just really quickly, I have one that features 4 like shoujo artists from like the 70s and 60s, and it has just been great because it features all of like the fashion choices that they made, and it's great for my knitting because I like older vintage pieces. Okay, back to Junji Ito. I have Uzumaki, which is also one of my favorites. I'm so stoked for the adaptation. I'm trying to keep my hopes like low because Ito hasn't really seen a lot of like really good adaptations, or at least I feel that his work could provide. Nevertheless, I have Gyo here as well. And then, yeah, I already showed you the Tomie one. Yeah, here, the Tomie volume. And then, moving on to the Masterpiece collection. So in English, I have, let's see, I think I have 2. Yeah, okay, I have the Tomie, of course, and I have here Frankenstein. Is it upside down? Yeah. I have Frankenstein, and I also have Smashed. Like the story, Smashed is also one of my favorites. I don't know, it's just fun seeing like people get smashed to pieces. It's like spontaneous combustion. I like that whole thing of like spontaneous combustion. I don't know, it makes me laugh. Okay, I should cut that out. Oh my gosh, but I don't know, it's just so, because it's so absurd, right? I would justify it. It's super absurd to like see someone just like catch on fire out of nowhere. Obviously it's not possible, but I mean, like in fiction, that type of idea is quite funny to me. So yeah, I think I already showed these ones. So it's volume 3, this is volume 4, Love Sickness. So this one is already out in the English quite recently, I think in April, and these are the spines of the ones that I already showed to you. Yeah, so I figured I might as well just get the Japanese one instead. So that's kind of like all of the boring stuff, all of the stuff that you've probably already seen from me in other videos. These ones I already showed just now. Black Paradox, Censor, and of course his latest one. I do have to say I really like the cover because, I don't know, I like the 2 faces. I like her despair in this one. I'm trying to keep it entertaining here. Okay, what else do we have? Yeah, okay, so this one I haven't shown, and this is a book essentially celebrating 30 years of Ito working in the manga industry. And yeah, it has a couple of older pieces in here. I think some piece of like, you know, wait, I don't want it to be too graphic. We should skip that. I think this is a new comic about Yon and Mu. That's really exciting. And this, I guess, this place essentially showing like his work, just a bibliography and some interviews, people talking about the Junji Ito collection, anime, some artwork as well, which is really pretty as always. So yeah, I have that one. Then up next I have this horror anthology comic by Bunkasha Comics, and it features a ton of awesome horror mangaka. So I actually initially got this because I am doing a video on this horror mangaka called Amagappa Shoujo-gun, I believe. Yeah, so Ito obviously did a piece for this one as well. He did the cover art too. So yeah, he's the first story in here. Show you a couple of panels. Yeah. We have Rasputin as well. Then I have Hellstar Romina, which is also now available in the English, so you can actually read that one if you'd like to. Then also I have these two short story collections. I actually would not recommend getting these two. I got them secondhand, so it luckily wasn't all that expensive. But yeah, all the stories that feature in these two are also featured in the Masterpiece collection. For instance, this one has the famous, hold on a second, the famous Slug Girl, and like the neighbor one that was also featured in the anime adaptation, with the really creepy lady who is like, "Come, young man, come." This one here. So yeah, if you're looking to like collect pieces, then I would recommend just going for the Masterpiece collection. Unless if you're like really into editions and stuff, then I would say go all out. Then I have this one called Kai Sasu, and this actually is a light novel. Yeah, so the writer is Hirokatsu Kihara, and Junji Itou just illustrated, made the illustrations for the light novel, but the last chapter, chapter 10, is actually in like a manga format. Yeah, I think Ito has done also 2 other light novels that came out, I think, like a year or 2 ago, but I didn't look into those because I believe they were a bit longer, and yeah, I felt a bit intimidated by that, and the text here isn't all that much, so I think I'll be able to manage. So yeah, all these other pieces are just like collections with other mangaka as well. We have here, oh, this is almost completely destroyed. Yeah, we have here Yama Kaidan, and this is just a collection, I think 5 stories. Yeah, 5 stories that center around ghost stories in the mountains. And then finally I have this last collection called Tensai Tachi no Kyoen, and this is just it's a 2-part anthology featuring the masters. Why am I doing this in quotation points and air quotations? No, the masters of some of the masters of manga. So as you can see here, you have like Moto Hagio Ito here. I don't know many of these. Oh wait, isn't this Naoki Urasawa? But I don't want to make any claims. Okay, nevertheless, yeah, it features one of Ito's stories. If I can find it here. Yeah, it features this story, which you might know from the Venus in the Blind Spot short story collection, because this is the story Venus in the Blind Spot. So again, if you're looking for new Ito stories, then you should pass on this one, because this one has already been collected somewhere else. And I think that's about it. Sorry that like the second part was a bit all over the place, but I hope that you still enjoyed looking at my collection, and that this video was helpful or interesting in some way, shape or form. Nevertheless, if you're still watching, thank you so much. If you'd like to support my channel, then you can do so by leaving a comment, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell button. You can also support me by joining my Patreon. I have a Discord where I chat with a lot of you, which is so much fun. We talk about manga, anime, literature. There's even a book club there as well, and yeah, anything and everything, I guess. So yeah, you'll get all of that from the lowest tier, which is $1. And if you're not interested in the book club and stuff like that, you can also just drop me a coffee. Yeah, I'm always so thankful for all of the support that I receive, so I can't stop mentioning that. Nevertheless, again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Oh, that was my wrist.